Hello, I am Ron Pula. I'll be giving you a discussion and a presentation on teaching emergent bilinguals today. What we'll be gearing our discussion on, we're referring to making our students comfortable in the classroom and kind of changing our instructional system more to a learner-centered strategies. So we'll be discussing those as well too, and how to not only make our children and our students more comfortable within the classroom, but also making the classrooms more comfortable for the students, with the ultimate goal of making sure that we're trying to find that common ground with the students, that they're getting to that most engaging and understanding of our instructions. We don't want to just be sitting there and reading. We want to make sure that they are engaging and they are, understanding what we are trying to say. When we're moving forward, what we'll be talking about is, again, why we're doing this, some of our strategies that we can put into our lesson plans and our collaborations, and a conclusion on wrapping everything up and what we think can work best for everybody, both teachers and students. Who are emergent bilinguals? These are our students who come into our system and they already speak a language other than English. And in some of them, they're speaking more than one language. So they're our bilinguals. And why are we using the emergent bilinguals? As you see, over the years, we've had numerous terms and titles for what our students are, between English learners, bilinguals, English language learners, English of a foreign language, English as a second language, language 1, language 2, and the list continues to go on. Emergent bilingual is our new term, and it's actually probably the most appropriate and most inclusive of the terms we've always used. It acknowledges students who are learning more than just one language, not only English. Because what this also encompasses is those who are coming to our country and they're still learning their native languages. And it's not uncommon at my school. They're in Arab classes on Saturday, and they're in our English classes on Monday through Friday. It also encompasses the students who may be using their native languages at home and English in school, so they're not really getting a strong foundation outside of the classrooms. So this could be an issue for us as well. What are our strategies? First, we want to make sure we know our kids, know our students and, their backgrounds and who they are and where they're from. So when they come in, some of our best options are to use icebreakers. And I know we've all been accustomed or introduced to an icebreaker, and they do work very well. It's not always easy to stand up in front of a group of people you do not know and speak about yourself. And this is where your icebreakers come in. And I'll share one with you, which I like to do is when you introduce students. But there's numerous icebreakers where you're using information where they're taking their names, there's poems, writing a little backgrounds on who they are, what they want to do. You can look them up and try and find one that's most comfortable for you, but I highly suggest them. We'll also talk about inclusive classrooms, what that entails, and our setup for our classrooms as well. Icebreakers. They help ease the tension of a new class and for the new students. Remember, not only do we have students coming into potentially a new school, a new neighborhood, and students they don't know, you also have to add on to the fact that we have students coming into a new country who don't even know the language. So they're going to feel a little bit out of place. They may dress differently, they speak differently, they don't know anybody, they look different. It's going to be very tense for them. So the icebreaker kind of helps introduce them to the classroom. It's also a great way to use if you got them to learn about each other, for them to learn about you, and for you to learn about them. Along with the icebreaker, which I like this one, is it gives us an opportunity to learn how to pronounce the individual's name correctly. It's not always that easy. Different areas, even though they may be from the same region, have different emphases on the dialects or how you pronounce a name. So you want to make sure you're pronouncing their name correctly, because it helps set the tone of respect for both you and for the student. With the icebreaker too, you not only introduce, but you can start discussing their cultural backgrounds, and this may help the student open up a little bit and feel a little bit more comfortable. And I really like to keep these a little bit lighthearted, because laughter is the best medicine. So you don't want to make things are tense already. If you can help do something that makes it a little bit goofy, a little laughing, even that much better, because it loosens everybody up. And by the same token, you as the teacher, you should participate in the icebreaker as well. You may even be the first one. Or if you have a brand new student who's a little nervous, maybe you need to pair up with that person. And you'll see that the icebreaker that I kind of like, that I've used in the past for my previous jobs, it's just a simple questionnaire. I pair the people up, one-on-one, maybe, 3 to a group, And I think it works a little bit better because you interview a person and then you introduce that person. So in essence, you're speaking for them when they're being introduced. And I think that goes easier. Simple questionnaire. What's your name? Where were you born? What's your background? Brothers, sisters, pets? What's your favorites? Sports, books, foods, movies. Something you can share with the group. You'd be surprised, and here you have a common ground that they can start establishing. What's your favorite school subject? For you, the teacher, this can be very vital when you're doing your lesson plans and you know what the backgrounds are to help the students get a little bit more comfortable and maybe perhaps use that to help them make better connections. What do they like to do for fun? And some of the stuff can be some of your little breakers, your timeouts, your little day breaks or what have you, if you can incorporate some of that as well. And again, this is one of those things that helps them feel more part of the classroom. What do they want to be when they grow up? With this information for you, the teacher, you can use this when you're trying to get some information for them, reading or what have you. Give them subject, something that's subject appropriate. That'll grab their interest. And again, it's to get them involved, get them engaged, get them discussing things, opening up a little bit. The more we can do that, the more we can make that connection and we can move forward. The last one I throw in there because in my school, over half my population is Middle Eastern or multilingual. So here's an opportunity. Have the child or the individual share with you. How do you say hello or good morning in their native language? Let them share. I've tried. I'm not the world's best when it comes to learning a new language or a word, but I do know there's other students, they do share and they do try to help out. And it's kind of that welcoming, the handshake and introducing. So here's an opportunity for them to not only properly say their names, so you know how to say it, but maybe also open up a little bit more about their backgrounds and their languages and make them feel more comfortable. So that's a great opportunity. And I've had a lot of success with this questionnaire. It can be a lot of fun. Make your classroom inclusive. You want the student to feel welcome. Classrooms and schools are supposed to be safe places for students. So make them safe. Make them feel comfortable. Make them want to come into the classroom. Personalize it. So make it warm, inviting. Add diversity to your walls. Put up a student wall. Let them share some of their works, their pictures, their backgrounds. Put up pictures from their cultures or information. Let them open up and explain. It's a great learning experience to share your backgrounds. For the students who have struggled or learning or multilingual, have literature available for them. Put them at ease. It's not easy learning a new language, and if they need, let them go ahead and read or communicate in their native languages just to get them comfortable. Talking is one thing. They need time to process, get their content going down, to formulate their answers, or even to formulate what they just heard. Give them time. And if it helps for them to speak their own language or read their own, go ahead and do that. Incorporate that into your lesson plans. It's all beneficial down the road. You can put on your walls too, as we have around our school. Some of the pictures are hard to see, but you have your cognates and your postings, your bilingual posters with pictures, names you can see for the seasons. We have their writings and the different writings in the pictures. We have books that are bilingual. I had mentioned about another way for them on their student wall. The picture for the bottom there for Rashid. He took all his letters of his names and he puts down a word that describes him. I kind of cut off on the R there, but still, you have amazing, smart, helpful, energetic, So these are things that the students can do, and let them proudly, put everything up so that they'll feel better about coming into the classroom. And lastly, when we talk about our classroom, make the learning environment easier for the students. The days of Charlie Brown's teacher, where everybody sat there and the teachers just kind of read everything off and the students wrote down notes, that's done. We need to have the children collaborate and work together. So when you set up your classroom, set it up for a smaller group, smaller settings, not in rows. Make sure you have some breakout areas so they can get up and move around and sit down and do some work together where they can generate discussion and maybe do some hands-on projects or some artworks. Let them collaborate. Let them work together. What your job is at that point is you're still educating, but you're also facilitating. You're scaffolding and you're modeling and, move around. Get them to engage and to generate conversation and then share it. Get them up to share, hey, what'd you come up with? So they're feeling part of it and they can kind of add on. And it's really a nice experience for them. And this kind of gets you from having 12 or 20 or 25 individuals into having a classroom that has 25 students. You now have a working group. And this is for everybody, all your diverse students. So in summary, We want to make sure that our emergent bilinguals are feeling part of our system. They're feeling part of our classroom. They're being included in everything you're going to do. And as such, with the learner-centered centers, you, the teacher, are kind of stepping back a little bit, making sure that they have information that will engage them, and you're structuring your basis of what they need, so we can kind of make that connection and collaboration. We can move forward, and everybody hopefully will have a great time in school. I do wish you luck. I hope you try some of these practices, and thank you very much for listening to my presentation.